Alright, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the second part of the Google Sheet series. Alright, so in this part we are going to be working on the basic things, the other basic things that you need to know in getting started with Google Sheet. Okay, so in this part, our agenda, what we are going to be talking about in this part, we'll talk about data entry, we'll talk about data types, and then we'll talk about how to autofill in Google Sheets. All right, and then we'll go ahead and talk about some common formulas or some basic formulas that we use in Google Sheets. Okay, now you have to understand that this, like I said, we are starting the series from the beginner level. All right, so we will only cover some basic formulas and functions for now, and then as we go on, we'll start using the complex formulas in Google Sheets. All right, so we'll talk about the common formulas in Google Sheets, and then we will also go ahead and talk about some important formulas that you need to know. All right, some basic formulas that are actually very important. All right, so we'll talk about the sum function, the count function, the count all function, or the counter. Okay, some people call this count all, some people call it counter. All right, so anyhow, okay, and then we'll also go ahead and talk about the CountUnique function. All right, and then lastly for this part, we'll talk about relative and absolute cell referencing. All right, I hope you guys are excited to be here. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you get to learn something from here. Okay, and make sure that you subscribe for future part of this series. Okay, so guys, let's get straight into it. Now for the file I'm using here, just check the description. Okay, so the link to get the file is there. All right, so don't just watch the videos, like I always say. Okay, so don't just watch the videos, make sure you practice along. All right, while watching and practicing along, okay, if you are doing it alongside with me, it increases your chances of learning faster. All right, so make sure you go to the video description. Just you see the link to the file, just go ahead and make a copy for yourself and then work alongside with me. All right, so basically in Google Sheet, just like Microsoft Excel, in the last video I told you guys that these are called cells. All right, and then if you want to enter data into a cell, you can only enter a single value inside the cell. Now the value can either be a number, a text, all right, it can be date, and then now values can also be in different formats, which can just be numbers, currencies, okay, and so on. So those are the things that we refer to as data types. All right, the data types in Google Sheet, right, or in anything data analysis. All right, so if you look at what we have here, this is a cell. So we go ahead and enter a value here. Let's say we enter a value 450 and click enter. This is automatically seen as a number. All right, and then you will see that you can see the positioning is tilted towards this side. Now let's go ahead and enter, let's say, a text. Now let's enter a text. Now you can see that this is a text, and then you can see the positioning, it is tilted towards this area, showing you that this is actually a text and this is a number. All right, so just in case you have a number that have been formatted as text, so you'll be able to distinguish between it and then the one that is actually a number. All right, So by default, numbers are tilted towards the side, and then text are tilted or positioned towards this side. All right, good. And then you can also enter dates. Okay, now let's suppose we enter a date that looks like this: 2/1/2023. Okay, now look at what we have here. This is seen as a date. This is a date, all right, but how do I know that this is actually the 1st of February, or maybe the 2nd of Feb? Either is the 2nd of January, or it's the 1st of February. This actually depends on your locale setting. Okay, so in the previous video where we talked about a quick tour on how to use Google Sheet, I talked about that, all right, on how you can set your locale setting. Okay, now and then to confirm that this is actually in the right date format, you just go ahead and double click on the cell. Once you double click on the cell, you will see that this brings out a calendar format. All right, and then because this for my own setting here, this is actually the 2nd of January. You can see that it is the 2nd of January that is showing in this calendar symbol that appeared there. All right, good. So these are different data types in Google Sheet. All right, and then how you can also enter data in Google Sheet. Now let's suppose, for example, now let's say we have want to enter some headers. All right, now if you want to navigate towards the side, you can either click or use the arrow keys of your keyboard. All right, or you can also go ahead and use the tab key. Okay, the tab key, just click on the tab key. All right, and when you are here, if you want to go to the next cell down here, you go ahead and use your enter key, the enter key, enter something, enter a value, then use the enter key, all right, to go to the next cell. All right, good. Now let's suppose we have some examples. Say we have salesperson. Okay, now as you can see this, I explained how to fix this in the last video. Just come over here and double tap. All right, can you see that? And then let's say we have sales. Okay, and then let's say, for example, we also have month. All right, so now for the index, now I want to show you guys how to use the autofill feature of Google Sheet. All right, now for the index, I'm just going to give a simple example. Let's say I have 1. Now if you go ahead and drag this down, if you drag this down like this, you can see that you have ones all through. This will not work because Google Sheet is not seeing any pattern in what you have given. All right, so to fix this, what you can do is you go ahead and give it a second pattern to show that you want this series to increase by 1. All right, then go ahead and drag it down. So once you drag this down, make sure that your arrow turns. Let me show you. Make sure that this arrow turns to this cross symbol, then go ahead and drag it down. All right, so you can see that it has been auto fit for you. So this will save you time of just typing it in by yourself. All right, now let me enter some random names for the salesperson. Okay, all right, as you can see now, these are names. All right, so they are text, and then as you can see that because they are text, all right, they are automatically positioned to this area of the cell. All right, and then for sales now, just go ahead and let's just enter some random values. Okay, let me just say 4. All right, then I'm just going to drag this down, select the 2, then I'm going to drag down, okay, up to this point. Good. Now you can see that these are seen as numbers. Now let's suppose you want to format this as currencies. How do you do that? So just go ahead and select the figures you want to format. All right, then come over here, you see more formats. All right, so once you click on that, automatic means that it's just going to appear as numbers. All right, if you want them to be plain text, you select this. Now you can see that these are numbers, all right, but they are text, and you can see that when I selected plain text, they have been repositioned. All right, so this is how you know that these numbers are not actually in the right format, they are in the text format. All right, so I'm going to select them again and change them to the right format. So since I want to use currency, I'm just going to come here and select the currency I want to use. So you can see it here. Select the currency you want to use. If you want a custom currency, just go ahead and select this and select, just search for the currency you want to use. All right, so for me, I'm going to use the British pound. Okay, now click on apply. All right, so you can see that this has automatically been formatted for me. All right, and then I have them in the right format. All right, so you can also use the autofill. All right, in filling month. Okay, just go ahead and drag it down, and then it will automatically fill it up for you. All right, so this is how to enter data in Google Sheet, and then that's how you can also use the autofill feature of Google Sheet. Now I have a task for you guys. All right, like I said, the file is available in the description. What I want to do, I want you guys to do is this. Look at what we have here. I want you to go ahead and duplicate this. All right, just enter them. All right, products, price, and then the discount, and try to give it this kind of formatting. All right, so if you see what we have here after the product links, you can see that we have headers. All right, now let's suppose you want to give it a borderline like we did here. You just go ahead and come here to borders. All right, you can see that, select the bottom border. You can select the width of the border. All right, the width you want to use, and you can also give it the color you want to give it. Now you can see what you have right here. All right, and then let's suppose you also want to give it a title. Let me insert this. Let me insert one row above. Now let's suppose I want to give this a title called sales data 2023. all right, now let's assume I want to probably have this to be something like this. I want this year to be down, but I want to just click on the enter key such that 2023 will be down, but yet it should be inside the same cell. This is what you do. Just come over here to the formula bar. I use my cursor right over here, and you click on Alt and enter. Okay, Alt and enter. You can see what you have right over there. So they are still inside the same cell, sales data 2023. all right, and then you can go ahead and properly center it. All right, then I think this is all right. So can you see that? So this is what I want you guys to duplicate. Just try it and attempt it, so make sure you do it. All right, so that is basically it on data entry, data types, and autofill. Now the next thing we are going to be talking about is basic formulas in Google Sheet. All right guys, let's get into it. All right guys, let's learn how to write some basic formulas in Google Sheet. All right, so if you look at what we have here, we have the salesperson, we have their current sales, we have their previous sales. Now we want to go ahead and find the difference between their current sales and then their previous sales. Okay, and then we also want to see if there is probably any increase or a decrease. All right, so how do we do that? It's very simple and straightforward. Right, so what you just do is, for any formula or function you want to start writing in Google Sheet, you make sure that you start with an equal to symbol. All right, so you still get to learn a lot of this, because we are going to do it over and over again. We are going to write and use different formulas and functions in Google Sheet. All right, so but for this basic part, make sure that you don't skip it and try to follow along. All right, so now to get the difference, now we are going to use the current. Okay, just equal to the current. You click on this, all right, minus the previous salary. All right, and go ahead and click on enter. Now look at what is going on here. Now immediately I click on enter, Google Sheet automatically did an autofill for me. All right, now it is asking me that, do I want to accept this autofill? All right, so if I want it, I just go ahead and click on this, or click on Control and the enter key to accept it. All right, and you can see what has happened here. The formula you entered here, right? If you look at this, the formula has also been pasted here. All right, so this is another importance of the autofill feature of Google Sheet. All right, you can see what it did. It basically subtracted this minus this from this, all right, which is actually correct. So but make sure you confirm it before you accept it, all right. But most time it is always correct if you have given it the right pattern from the beginning, all right. It will go ahead and follow that pattern for you. Okay, so I'm going to click enter. As you can see, this particular salesperson, Dan Bush, his sales reduced, all right, by £10,000. All right, for this particular person there is no increase because the previous sales and the current sales are actually the same thing. And then for this particular guy, there's a decrease in sales by £6,000. all right, now these values are giving us the differences, all right, in form of value. Right, now let's go ahead and see percentage increase or decrease. Now how do we go about that? This is where you get to apply your math skills, all right, yes, the basic math skills that you learned in school. All right, so to get a percentage increase, now what you can just do is to do what the current sales minus the previous sales all over the previous sales. All right, so how do we do that? You come here and click on equal to. All right, so I'm going to open a bracket, all right, just to make my work appear neat. So the current sales, all right, can you see what I did there? Just I click on this minus the previous sales, all right, divided by, so I'm using the forward slash for division, all right, divided by the previous year's sales. Then I'll click on enter. Now you can see that Google Sheet did exactly the same thing for us again. So I'm going to just click on this or control and enter to accept it. Now this is not formatted correctly. What we can do is just go ahead and you can select it, all right, and then you come over here to percentage, just click on format as percentage. So you can see that for this guy there's an increase in sales by 5.3%. This guy had a very big increase, all right, then there's a very large decrease here. Okay, then there's also a very large decrease here. So you can see how we wrote the formulas. Start with an equal to symbol and then imputing the correct formula. We're actually going to do this over and over again. All right, so we get to apply it in solving problems. So make sure you master it now before we get there. All right, and in case you have any question, in case you try this on your end and you're not getting it, you can just drop a comment and then we'll try to assist you and try to get you through what you don't understand. All right, so that is it for the basic formulas. All right, so this is where I'll stop. All right, for how to use basic formulas in Google Sheet. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is how to use basic functions. All right, some basic functions in Google Sheet. So let's get straight into it. All right guys, let's go ahead and learn how to use some basic functions in Google Sheet. All right, now look at what we have here. We have some sales person, current sales and previous sales, like we saw in the last class. All right, but this time around we want to know the total current sales that we have, the average sales, like the average current sales. So we call this average current sales. Okay, that's average of the current sales. We also want to know the number of salespersons that we have, and then we also want to know the unique count of salesperson. I will show you guys what we're trying to say when we get here. All right, now to start a function, right, to input a function, I said start with an equal to symbol. Now you might want to ask yourself what is actually a function? So a function is actually an inbuilt formula, and then it performs a specific task. If you want to sum, you cannot be using the average function. So each function performs a specific task. All right, so you must make sure that you use each function for the task for which they have been assigned to do. Okay, so let's say for example now you want to find the total current sales. Total, that means sum. Okay, so we're going to use the sum function. Now let's assume that you forgot the function you want to use. So you come here to insert, come here to where is it, come here to function right over here. Now there are a lot of functions here, so just go ahead and select the one you want to use. Okay, but for me, I'm just going to type it in here. Just come here to equal to sum. Okay, now while typing it, you're going to see the list of functions that have the sum in it. Okay, so this is the one I want to use, so I'll go ahead and click on it, or you can click on your tab key to select it. Now if you don't know how to use it, you can go ahead and click on this question mark. Now this will give you a short note on what the function does. If you want to actually learn more about it, you can go ahead and click on learn more, and then this will open a new tab for you where it will properly be explained. You can see what you have there. So almost all the functions are here and then they're explained. All right, so I'm just going to close this and come back here. Now so I want to get the total current sales, so that means I'm selecting this up to here, right? So in case you want to add feature data, you can go ahead and select some few spaces, all right, and then just close the bracket and click enter. Now look at what is going on here. Autofill is coming to work again. It's asking you that, do you want to accept this? Now let's accept it and see what Google Sheet is actually doing. So sometimes there are errors with this, and that has to do with cell referencing, and that is what we're going to talk about in the next part. All right, so if I accept this now, let's see what Google Sheet has done here. Now this is the one you gave it. All right, now it's going to follow the pattern you gave it. You can say that it's shifted down to the next cell and then shifted down by one more cell here, and for this third one it's shifted down, and then again shifted down again here. But that is not what you want it to do, so make sure you check the formulas before you accept the autofill that Google Sheet is giving you. And that is why you have to understand the concept of cell referencing. Then I'm going to explain that to you guys in the next part. Okay, now so to get the average current sales, now what do we use? You simply use the average function. Okay, average function, you can see it right over there. Select it, go ahead and select the values you want to give it. Okay, select it, and then you close the bracket and click enter. All right, I don't want this, so you go and cancel it. So now for the number of salespersons, now we want to know the number of salespersons that we have. Now you might actually think that these things are so basic. All right, they're actually basic, but when it comes to working with a lot of data sets, we'll still get there. But this is just the basic concept. You have to understand the basic concept before you start working on bigger data set. All right, so make sure you follow along properly. All right, now for the number of salespersons, now what do we do? Now there are two functions for that. Now we have count and count A. Okay, so for count, when you click on this count, it returns the number of numeric values. Now note that it returns the number of what numeric values in a data set or in a given range. Okay, so if I give it this, it's going to return 0 because there are no numeric values here. Okay, so if I select this now, sorry about that. So let me come back here. So if I come here and I give it this range, we're going to get 0. Why? Because none of this is actually a numeric value. Okay, so the count function will really help you with counting numeric values. So for example, now if you want to count this, so then you have the right answer because these are numeric, and then this value should not be in pounds. So I'm going to use it as just number without. To remove the decimal point, I'm just going to come here and click on it. Yeah, all right. So you want to use the count function to count text. All right, to count text, that's when you use the count all, the count A function. Okay, so count A, see it right there. So this one, it returns the number of values in the data set. So when you come here now and give this to it, close the bracket and click enter, look at what you have. It will do the right thing for you. Okay, so that's the difference between the count function and then the count all or the count A function. I hope you got that. Now for the unique count of salespersons. Now let's assume I have another logo here, then I have, let's say, another Samuel LeBron here, and I have another J Black here. Now unique count of salespersons, you want to use CountUnique. So this will go ahead and check the salesperson that you have, and it will count the unique salespersons. So if I select this, select right here, and I click enter, you can see that, sorry about this, I think I formatted it the wrong way. So number the decimal, right? So you can see that we have 7 unique salespersons. So this logo will only be counted once. Samuel LeBron will only be counted once, right? And J Black will only be counted once. All right. I hope you understood what we did there. In case you have any question, drop it in the comment section. Okay, and then make sure you're working along, not just watching. Okay, the files are in the description. All right. So guys, the last topic we'll be talking about in this part is cell referencing. Now, cell referencing is actually very important. You can see the way the formulas moved down, and then they are giving us the wrong values. All right. If you don't know how to use cell referencing, you might not notice that. All right. So that is why it is important to know the difference between absolute cell referencing and relative cell referencing, and that is what we are going to be talking about in the next part. So make sure you just hang around. All right, and let's get straight into it. All right, guys. So cell referencing. Okay. So we're basically going to talk about relative cell referencing and absolute cell referencing. Now look at what we have here. We have the product and then their current price. All right, so we have the current price of the products here, and then we have the discount of the products. All right, so here we're going to use what is called relative cell referencing. How does that work? All right, so by default, Google Sheet or spreadsheet, even Excel, all right, is by default uses the relative cell referencing. Now how does that work? Look at what we have here. We have the price, right? The products. This is the price. Now this is the discount we are giving on it. We now want to get the price after discount has been removed, right? How do we get that? That will just be a simple formula, which goes the current price, right, times 100% minus 10%, and you know that 100% is 1, right? So 1 minus, let's go ahead and click on this. Okay, close bracket and click on enter. Now you can see that Google Sheet has done the autofill for us. Now what is it doing there? When you come to this, you see that it did exactly the same thing. The current price times 1 minus 20%, which is correct. For this, the current price times 1 minus what? The discount that we have here. Now this is called relative cell referencing. Okay, but what if we have a different setup like this? Look at what we have here. The discount here is what? Is 10%, right? So the discount for all of them is 10%. That means each of these products does not have its own specific discount. Okay, so there is a global discount for all of them. All right, so how do we go ahead and apply this discount on them? Okay, let's do that. So this will be equal to what is the price of this product? It is £10. Okay, minus what? So sorry, times. So we're going to multiply. So we have times 1 minus this. All right, go ahead and close the bracket and click enter. Now if you accept the autofill that we have here and accept it, you can see that we have errors here. Okay, and we have wrong values here. So what is actually going on? Look at this. It did was this, right, times 1 minus this. All right, but when we come here, you can see that, like I said, by default Sheet uses what? Relative cell referencing. So you can see that this cell moved, this cell also moved. So that is what? Relative referencing by default. But in our case now, we want this cell to be fixed. All right, so we need to lock down this cell. Now this can be free to move, but this cell should be locked down. How do we go about that? That is when we now get to use what? Absolute cell referencing. Okay, so let's do that from here. So come here to correct the formula. That means this must be fixed. This I14, you can see that this cell is what? Cell, this one right here, this one right here is I14. Okay, I14. So I'm going to come here. Okay, we can come into the formula bar here, and you can either use your F4 key. So the F4 key will so the F4 key will help you log this down, or if it doesn't work on your computer, just go ahead and come here to the I14. Okay, that means we want this cell to be locked. It should not move to the right, not to the left. It should not move down, it should not move up. So that means we're going to lock the column by adding a dollar symbol in front of the column, which is column I. All right, then we're also going to lock the row, that's 4. So you add a dollar symbol in front of 4. Okay, then click on enter. Now once you now click on enter and you drag this down, you will see that everything has been fixed. You see that this times 1 minus this, because this has already been locked down. Okay, you can see that we have the correct values now. I hope you understood that. In case you don't understand, if you have a question, please drop it in the comment section, and then make sure you practice it, because if you just watch it, you might think you understand until you practice on your own. So make sure you also try it on your end. All right, so for this one here, look at what we have here. We have 10% discount for January and also 10% discount for February. So let's try to see if we can. So for Zell now, that will be what? This times, right, multiplied by, I'm going to open a bracket, 1 minus, right. So we already know that we're going to fix this. All right, so just click on this. You can go ahead and add the dollar symbol in front of it, and also add a dollar symbol in front of the row number, close bracket, and click enter. Then this has been done correctly. Now if you let's try to drag here and see if you can see that it's giving us 0, right? It's giving us 0, which is not meant to be. Why are we actually getting 0? Now if I come here and click on this, let's click on this. All right, if you click on this, that is the edit mode. All right, you see the formula, you see that this has moved to the right because you drag the formula to the right. This has moved to the right. So in this case now, we need to lock these two. It can move down, but it should not move to the right or to the left. So that means we need to lock down the rows, but the column can be free to move. So how do we do that? We're going to come here. You know, these values are in here, right? Okay, they're column B. So we're going to come here from the beginning. I'm going to come here. This is the main formula you give to it, right? So column B should be free to move, but these rows should be fixed, right? These rows, okay, sorry, the column should be fixed, column B should be fixed, but the rows should be free to move, 6, 7. All right, so we're going to add a dollar symbol in front of B, okay, and click on enter. Now when you do that and you drag this, let's see what we have. Now you can see that it has been fixed. If you look at that, so the column has been fixed. All right, then the rows can be free to move now, so you can drag it however you want, and then you still get the right results. Okay, I hope you understood that. All right, sorry guys, and if you look at this last one here, we have a different setup. You can see that for January we are giving out a 20% discount, and then for February we are giving out a 10% discount. So okay, this is what you should do. Try to pause the video and then try to solve this yourself, and then if you don't get it, you can come back and watch it again. Okay, so you don't have to be right, just for you to like attempt it. All right, so let's see how to get the current price. So it's just simple as what I've been doing. So to get the price, to get the current price now for January. All right, so to get the price for January, what do we do? 1 minus, so not 1, the current price, right, minus, but you have to make sure that we are fixing this column like we did before, right, so that it will move right over here. then minus what now, 1, not minus, sorry about that, multiplied by 1 minus this. Alright, but make sure you fix this too. Let's go ahead and fix it. Alright, and then you have your answer like that. Alright, so you can see what we have. Okay, you see what we have there, so you can go ahead and do this yourself. So I believe you now understand how to do cell referencing, the absolute referencing, and then the relative referencing in sheets. Okay, so in case you have any questions so far, and in this, based on everything we have covered so far in this part 2, make sure you drop it in a comment. Okay, if you have learned something, give the video a thumbs up and share with your friends. All right, so and make sure that you subscribe, okay, so that, and turn on notifications so that you will you'll be aware. All right, so that you get to know when we post the next part of the series. All right, guys, take care.